Hey guys, so the achievements for Shattered Space have been revealed an entire month before release, and they give us loads of new info about Starfield's first major story expansion, including new enemies, new weapons, and exactly how many new locations you're gonna be able to visit. Subscribe to the channel and let's dig in. Now, these achievements have just been added to Steam, but these will almost certainly be the same on Xbox, and there are 11 new ones in all. This takes the total number of achievements in Starfield up to 62. But what do these 11 new Shattered Space achievements tell us about the DLC? Well, first off, let me draw your eyes to Achievement 58. This is called The Great Unknown, and it's rewarded to you when you discover 50 locations on Varun Kai, and this is very exciting news. We are getting 50 completely fresh locations to explore. And these will likely be handcrafted locations as well, because I can't see Bethesda giving you an achievement for discovering just a randomly generated location. The fact they've put a number on it means they're separating out these specific 50 locations and categorizing them. And that category is the handcrafted category. These are locations, in other words, that they want you to visit, and they're giving you an achievement for doing so. But what types of locations are we going to see? Well, based on my behind closed doors access to Shattered Space at Gamescom, I can tell you that we are going to be taken into the halls of power of Varun society. This is the main council building where all of the Varun politics happens, and it's called the Scaled Citadel. It's basically like the Capitol building in Washington, DC, but slightly weirder. Another will be the space station at the start of the DLC, which is called the Oracle. And here's where the Varun scientists were experimenting with grav drive technology, then had a big old mishap which opened up a wormhole to the Varun homeworld. I saw a bit more of this at Gamescom than we got in the first trailer, and it's actually pretty massive. The vibe on the Oracle that Bethesda is going for is horror for sure. Like, it's dark, you can hear footsteps and clanging noises in the metal pipes, and it genuinely looks like it's going to be pretty scary if you take your time. Of course, you could also just speedrun the section with a shotgun, but it won't be quite the same. So I'm going to put my headphones on and really take my time on the Oracle. So those are 2 out of the 50 locations we're definitely seeing. As for the rest, I wouldn't be surprised if they're a little smaller. We really don't know how Bethesda is categorizing its locations and how big they are. So they could just be classing anything as a location, like a vendor's shop, an apartment building, a clinic, etc. It's unlikely the 50 new locations are all going to be unique POIs across the DLC, like brand new enemy bases to clear out or outposts to claim. I don't think we're going to get that, but regardless, it is good news we're getting 50, and that Bethesda is proud enough about making 50 unique locations that they're giving you an achievement for finding them all, because that at least suggests they're worth discovering. Next up, and this is exciting, take a look at Achievement 61. It's called 5 of a Kind, and you unlock this achievement when you craft one of each type of Vortex Grenade. What, you may ask, is a Vortex Grenade? Well, it is a brand new type of grenade in Starfield Shattered Space, and from the name of it, it appears to use Vortex technology. What is Vortex technology? You may also ask. Well, this has not been confirmed, but my best guess is Vortex technology is basically interdimensional portals. We know the name of the wormhole that's opened up in the Varun capital of Dazra is called a Vortex, and out of this Vortex are emerging loads of weird alien bug things from another dimension. So a Vortex is a portal between dimensions. This suggests the Vortex grenades will let you weaponize these portals. I have not seen one in action, but I'm gonna guess you can throw one down to suck enemies into a portal and then send them straight to the bug dimension. Or alternatively, maybe you throw a Vortex grenade so these alien bugs come out and feast on your enemies, although they would also target you, so that wouldn't be all that smart. But anyway, that's what I think Vortex grenades are. But hold on, because we can look at the wording here. It says craft one of each type of Vortex Grenade, and the name of the achievement is 5 of a Kind. That means quite clearly we are getting not 1, but 5 variations of the Vortex Grenade. And you can really at this point only speculate on what these are going to be. Like, what other grenade types could we have here? Maybe one of the 5 different Vortex Grenades opens portals to different dimensions. One dimension is the alien bug dimension, as we've seen, but what if you open open a portal to a dimension of pure kinetic energy, kind of like Cyclops from the X-Men, and unleash a blast of pure power? Or what if you open a portal to another dimension full of fire and burn your enemies to a crisp? I'm really only imagining at this point, but if you've got any ideas of what these 5 vortex grenades could be, let me know down in the comments. And it gets even more exciting because this achievement also references the fact there will be grenade crafting. We have never been able to craft grenades in Starfield before, so this is hugely exciting, and I don't know about you, but I really don't use grenades all that much in the game, so it's going to be great to have 5 brand new and, from the sounds of it, weird new explosives to play with. I might be alone in not using explosives that much though, because I have heard of players doing amazing things with grenades and mines in the base game, like using mines in 0G and flinging them towards enemies like an exploding frisbee. I had never thought to do this before, but you know what? This is going to come in very handy in the DLC, and that's because in Shattered Space there will be all new 0G gameplay. The senior producer on Shattered Space, Tim Lamb, actually talked about this in a recent interview, saying, quote, "There are new zero-gravity combat scenarios that really change the dynamics of how you approach fights," end quote. And I saw a bit of this behind closed doors at Gamescom. Basically, what it is you jumping between these sort of blue gravitational distortions. Some are spherical, and it sort of looks like you're swimming in a giant water droplet, and some are more like updrafts that you're jumping between. So it's a spin on the 0G firefights in the base game, in that you're moving between pockets of 0G rather than have it either completely turn on or off. This means you might want to actually practice a few cheeky mine combos and techniques. Like, how about using the slow time power, chucking a bunch of mines towards an enemy. Then when the time speeds back up, all the mines hit the enemy and they explode. Placing a mine and then force pushing it into a guy is also extremely fun, as is force pushing away some dude's grenade right back in his face. But what new enemies will you be facing in this DLC? Thankfully, the achievements give us an indication of that as well. We actually have the names of 2 new enemy types. The first is called a Vortex Horror. What is a Vortex Horror? This is the collective name for the creatures that emerge through vortexes. We've seen a few different types of these. One of them is a sort of horrible giant spider, and another I saw in the secret Gamescom footage is more of a lobster looking thing, although it's the size of a horse and it looks gross. But the general theme for Vortex Horrors is they're kind of like nightmarish alien insects and crustaceans, basically the scariest an enemy has ever looked in Starfield. Think of the ugliest alien you've ever encountered in the game so far and, you know, kind of double it. And what I like about this is each specific species of Vortex Horror doesn't have a name. They're just grouped into this mysterious horde of creatures from another dimension, which really increases their horror factor. Like, it would ruin it a bit if they emerged from a vortex and immediately had a name, because then you'd be like, well, who named this thing? Because it sure as hell wasn't me. Now, these are organic creatures, so I do recommend bringing a weapon capable of setting enemies on fire. Upgrading your lasers to level 4 is going to come in handy, as is using a particle shotgun or the cutter. The second enemy is called a Redeemed or the Redeemed, and you get an achievement for taking out 10 of these. Bethesda hasn't confirmed exactly what a Redeemed is, but I think I know, and sorry to keep going on about the Gamescom footage, but another element I saw here featured a bunch of Redeemed. These were ghostly blue people. Now, it's anyone's guess why they're blue and ghostly, but if I had to speculate, I would say they're deceased Varun brought back to life through mind control or some kind of weird technology. That would explain why they look ethereal and otherworldly, but who is the person that brought them back? I think it's going to be this guy, the main baddie of the DLC. And if the Redeemed are indeed ghosts, this is going to test your combat skills in brand new ways, because you won't just be able to shoot them, your bullets would presumably just pass straight through. So you're going to have to think of new ways to actually harm them. And I'm thinking here's where the Vortex grenades could come in really handy. But aside from the Redeemed and the Vortex Horrors, we'll also be getting new types of wildlife native to the Varun homeworld. This was shown off in the trailers scenarios, and thankfully these are a lot less terrifying. And lastly, check out these 7 achievements. These all relate to the story, so you will unlock each of the 7 achievements after completing each corresponding mission. That means we now know just how many missions there are in Shattered Space, with 7 in total. Let's say each one is around an hour. That's 7 hours gameplay right there. Then we'll be generous and double it for all the exploration and the grenade crafting and stuff in the game, which takes Shattered Space up to around 14 or 15 hours. Now, I think this is a pretty reasonable guess at how long the DLC is going to be, and some people might be expecting a bit more after waiting a year for it, but let's not get ahead of ourselves and expect like a 50-hour experience, because then, you're just going to be disappointed. And hey, you might need 2 or more playthroughs of the DLC to complete all of the achievements. This whole DLC is about feuding factions in Vortex, and you get to side with one of them, meaning you might be able to play through it again and side with another faction. Although that will have to be on a different save file. It's not like you're going to get to the end of the DLC, step through a portal and then get to play it all again. At least I don't think that's going to happen. And this kind of reminds me of past Bethesda DLCs like Far Harbor and Nuka World, which were in Fallout 4. In these DLCs, you can actually side with different factions, and to be more specific, in Far Harbor, you could actually side with 3 different factions, or you could even stick your fingers up to all 3 and turn the island into a wasteland. I don't know about you personally, but I'm going to be joining House of Rune at the earliest opportunity as the newest, most serpent-believing member. And since I'm a Starborn after completing the game, as I imagine a lot of Starfield players now are, maybe House of Rune is going to look to these Starborn players as the chosen ones. Who knows? And finally, I just want to touch on this. You might be wondering, what if you've modded your game? Will achievements still work? Because you do get a warning message in the game saying that if you mod, you will no longer be able to earn achievements. Well, that is the case, but there are 2 things you can do, and one of these is to delete your existing mods and play on that save file. So play on the same save file, just delete all the mods. The other is to start a fresh save file with no mods. If neither of these sound that appealing, and to be honest, I wouldn't blame you, a secret third option is to download a mod called a Backer Achievement Enabler. This is a mod that prevents achievements from being disabled with mods, or when using the console. It also, as a little bonus, removes the warning when opening the console for the first time in a session, and that gets quite annoying. So if you've already modded Starfield but you still want to earn the achievements listed in this video, Backer Achievement Enabler might be your best bet. That's going to do it for this video. Thanks again for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more Starfield guides and pledge a little money my way and help sponsor this channel over on patreon.com/gamingwithgriffgriffin.